This is Marshawn Lynch. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So I'm here to make sure you don't miss any of the action this football season. With Prize Picks, it's good to be right. With millions of members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks is the best place to put your takes to the test. The app is really simple to use and available in 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Just pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projections, and if you're right, you can cash in. With simple stats and fan-friendly policies, Prize Picks is the best place to make your picks. Most importantly, they don't play about your paper. All transactions on the apps are fast, safe, and secure.
Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPOTIFY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPOTIFY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
This is why I feel like it's so common that people come up and they'll be like, this album really got me through this period. I think people think about albums getting them through something, and I think that's what makes an album like attach itself to you.
What are those records for you? Which albums are they? We were just talking about, before we pressed record, we were talking about Give Up and the Postal Service.
The early ones were, for me, it's that thing where someone's like, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday? And you're like, I don't know, no idea.
Just think of your iPod at the time.
Yeah, at the time it was CDs. It was CDs for me. I was still
hell yeah.
So it would have been like Transatlanticism was there. Rabbit Fur Coat by Jenny Lewis was there. The Stories in the Soil Keep Your Ear to the Ground by Bright Eyes was there. There was Take This to Your Grave by Fall Out Boy was there.
Great album.
What are you, John?
Yeah, yours are so much more interesting than mine. Mine are just like classic rock, you know.
But that classic rock isn't less interesting. I mean, even if it's a bit more like, I don't know, not as contemporary, they're still powerful, right? And like the big hooks. It's the big hooks.
Yeah. All those 60s Stones singles, just like they just are hooks. Like they're one idea.
Yeah.
It's Satisfaction. It's just that fuzz sound, and then an Otis Redding song, and then like, you know, Paint It Black is like that acoustic guitar riff, and then you know, just groove it.
There's a bit on on Roundabout, in like the second half of Roundabout, where it's like that cool production bit where it's like the acoustic riff, and then it's like the loud guitar that comes in. That's kind of that era classic rock.
Yeah, that was a fun one because we just did it with one guitar, you know, like sometimes I think we would have fussed around and like triple tracked the guitar and like tried all sorts of fancy stuff, but the best version of that was just quite a 60s version. It was just, let's just get our biggest fuzz pedal and record it wide open. Yeah
101 part-time jobs, you know, obviously there's loads of different jobs about being in a band or being an artist. Coming in after a few records and coming into a new record and being like, okay, how, like, obviously you want to keep on doing things that feel fresh or that make you feel good or make you feel like you're seeing something for the first time. Talking about that, is that one of those things? Is that one of the jobs of being like, okay, how do we keep it fresh for ourselves? How do we keep it exciting?
Definitely. I mean, it's so unlikely that you start a band and then you get to make like 4 albums. So I feel like when you get to you kind of like, you have to ask yourself, like, every time you make a new album, you're like, okay, to what degree are we doing the same thing? To what degree are we doing a new thing? What do we want? What do we not want?
Yeah.
We're not trying to alienate people. Like I feel like we're never trying to alienate people in the Beths. I feel like it's kind of like we're trying to bring people in.
It feels very inclusive songs. I think from like subject matter and lyrics to kind of the sound of it, it's warm. All your records are very warm sounding.
Thank you. How do you make them? How do you make them warm, John?
We just follow our gut with like trying to make something that's not going to date too hard, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's also life, right? Like it's surprising how few songs can stick around. If you didn't use a song last album, you might think that Liz is sitting on a bunch of unreleased songs or something, and that forms the start of your next record. But you live 2 or 3 years of life in the interim, and they don't make sense to you anymore, and they just don't. They kind of might have been great songs, but they don't really hold up this time around. So that has been really surprising, and that seems like part of the job as well. It's just like get out there, experience something new, try to like find something to reflect on. For me, an album is very much like it's like looking at the last few years of my life and kind of like then stepping back from the canvas and being like, okay, maybe this is what it has been or something like that. And so and that involves a lot of self-exploration, and this time in particular, like it has involved like starting some therapy and like doing some mental health stuff and medication, and like really like trying to figure out, like, am I just terrible, which is maybe what I thought before, or maybe like there's just some stuff to unpack and a lot of stuff to deal with. And I'm not like post that process at all. I think that's the whole thing with the album is it's not like, well, I did that and now I've figured it out and I'm good. It's like, okay, now I'm in it, and also being in it is kind of like you're in it until you die. Like it's just like taking care, trying to figure out what's going on, and doing the maintenance of life, I guess.
It's constant work, right?
Yeah.
It's not all bad, it's not all good. It's a bit of a maybe. It's like, yeah, sure, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe good, maybe bad.
So and I feel it's very maybe.
And I feel like that's what this kind of record is about as well. Like Straight Line was a lie is like, oh, it's a bit of a maybe, everything's a bit maybe.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I feel like I keep putting it in terms of our previous album, Expert in a Dying Field, which felt, it was like coming out of the pandemic, and like it felt there was like a cautious optimism that's like, man, it's been really dark, but maybe we're going to be okay. And this album's kind of like, maybe. Like, exactly like you say.
How do you think you've been able to do it for 4 records? And I know in Australia they're quite good, in Canada they're quite good, Commonwealth countries seems to be quite good.
Yeah.
What were the opportunities for you to play music as a career for a living?
We had great opportunities in New Zealand. There's like a decent amount of direct funding once you get to a certain level. I think probably when you're younger than that, it's more like these organisations that take it upon themselves.
Like youth centres and
there's like a thing called the Rock Quest, which is like a battle of the bands thing.
Sick.
And honestly, like, I think their impact is huge. They just it's so many musicians of our contemporaries in New Zealand. I mean, all of them did Rock Quest, and like, that's a good strike rate. Like, it works. That program really works. There's another one, Play It Strange, which is similar for songwriting, and Liz was a finalist. I think you
in Play It Strange.
In Play It Strange, I think you got second place in your year.
Third.
For shame.
No, but yeah, it's like, I guess when you're a kid, it's like it gives you an excuse to like put a band together or write a song and then like have something, because that is when that's what you're focusing on when you're first learning. You're like, there's so many things to learn. Like you say, it's 1,000 part-time jobs being a musician. It's like putting together a show is an entirely different set of skills than just like learning how to play some songs with your friends. And so this is these things like Rock Quest and Play It Strange, they're an excuse to get together and then have an audience. There's like being in the room with grown-ups and being able to ask them stuff, and then there's also being in the room with a bunch of like your peers, like people from other schools, and like and that's how you get people then putting on little shows at community halls or whatever. Like it has to grow from somewhere. And
you got a great story in that you had like formal music educations, right? Did you study jazz?
Yeah, we studied jazz on other instruments. I played jazz piano, Liz played jazz trumpet.
Talking about playing music that you like and makes you feel good, you're in this, ostensibly like rock and roll band playing fast, big, hooky music. very far away from jazz, especially the sort of like lesson jazz, pay attention to the teacher jazz.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we ended up.
Do you have fun playing these records, playing these songs?
Yeah, that's a big part of the Beths, I think. We really like playing together. But it's so funny, like we did this academic jazz degree thing, and it feels like we're very, like, at first, like you do anything and you're like, I'm going to zag away from that now because I've had 4 years of that and I want to do something else.
Yeah.
But then like I come back around and I look back on it very fondly, and like we were all there because we finished high school and we're like, there's nothing I want to do more than music. And so this, in Auckland at the time, it's like that's where you went.
Yeah.
And you met a whole bunch of other people who were like, there's nothing I want to do more than music. Despite the fact that I have no idea what I'm going to do after I finish this degree. And it's, it's very unlikely I'm going to become Miles Davis. And so it was, but there's something about jazz that's so like, I really relate to the fact like almost nobody, unless you're like a pianist, nobody plays alone. Like it's all about playing with other people. It's like the team sport of things. It's the conversational part of music. It's like communicating with each other and kind of like locking in, and that's something that I feel like has been a part of what we do from the start, and it's a real part of the enjoyment that we get from it.
Well, there'll be that moment as well if you play the wrong note, like in jazz. That's kind of more of a challenge to keep up rather than stop the song, you played the wrong note. It's the opposite. It's like, cool, okay, we're taking this new direction.
Yeah, but I think our some part of our zag away from jazz was also zagging into a place where we were like, we know the right way to do this. Like, we have rules for our band.
Yeah, you have the rules, don't you?
We have the rules.
We have the rules.
You make the rules, you break the rules.
Yeah. That's it. You have to make the rules to break them, don't you? And we feel like we do break the Beths rules a little bit. But, yeah.
What's like a recent rule that you either broke or made?
There were some rules in this record. We love to like start a project with like a big chat and like some goals and some mission statements. And one of the rules on this album was no keyboard synthesizers. It was, we are allowed to make a studio album. That was one of the rules, which previously we might have been like, consider how make an album that's fun to play live. This was like, we're allowed to make a studio album. We're not allowed to use keyboard synthesizers.
Interesting. Why?
Too many options, basically. Like too many options, and kind of towing into territory that we don't fully understand. Like, we've been talking about the Postal Service as like a hugely influential band for us.
Yeah.
And I think that works because Jimmy is an expert at he's a programming nerd, and he's a synthesizer nerd and a sampling nerd, and he's an expert at that. And Ben is an adventurous musician, and his skills are in playing guitar and songwriting principally, and playing amazing drums actually. We don't really have that. We don't have like an expert in that field, so to coin a phrase.
So it was almost like a respect thing.
Yeah, it's like nervousness about that territory. Like, well, we're probably going to make missteps if we go in that direction. Okay. But then also, really, it's just too many options.
Yeah,
it's not just missteps. Like when when you don't know something very well, it feels like sometimes you can reach for something novel to solve a problem. And I feel like we wanted to kind of. We were doing so much new on this album, like we were letting ourselves break so many other rules, like tempo rules, which are normally the best thing, and density and like eighth notes and stuff that we do a lot less of. And I feel like we were kind of, there was a way to keep the center holding while we kind of kept exploring further, was to kind of be like, well, okay, we're at the root of this, we're going to be a guitar band, and we're not going to reach for something that we don't understand very well to solve a problem. If we have it.
Got ya. Does it feel like problem solving, writing songs?
I feel like definitely making the songs, like after they're written, feels like problem solving. There's an element of like, you listen to a demo or you listen to a half made song, like, and you've got the arrangement together and you're kind of like, okay, you are. It does feel like we're problem solving a little bit.
I guess I'm thinking if you have like a verse or one line, that's a great line, feels good, imagery's there. It's like, how do you fit a song around that almost? Because a line, how a line can really make a song. Some of your favorite songs are like that one line that's like, yes, that hit so hard.
That happens so often where someone's like, I love that song, and the space, like I have this where like the space on the shelf of my mind where that song sits, there's just that one line, and it's like that's enough. But it's problem solving. It's like often it'll be one line, often it'll be like, why isn't this second verse working? And like you can fix things via arrangement, you can fix things via rewriting them, you can write a counter melody to kind of add more interest. It feels like that's where the craft of songwriting is, right? Like there's the personal introspection and like the self-expression, and then there's the craft. And the craft feels like problem solving.
The straight line being a lie, I think is so relatable now, because I feel like for our parents' generation, a lot of our parents, it's like, okay, you get a job, you do that forever. For us, we're kind of like told that we can do whatever we want to do. You know, you can go study, go travel abroad, anything, but actually it's really hard because you feel kind of stunned. You don't really know. You feel, because everything you need money for everything, like even like emotional stability. But it's terrifying that idea of, you know, you want your life to go in this way, but it's just not going to go like that. What I'm talking about here is there's something in this record and that kind of that phrase, like the straight line being the idea of what you want to happen, but of course it's a lie. It's not going to happen like that.
Yeah, totally like that. That song came really late in the process of the album, when I feel like I already had an idea of that. We had been playing the songs, and it felt almost like a thesis statement. I was like, okay, it feels like the album contained within the album is this idea, but I haven't stated it. And then that song just came out on the bus, and then we played it the next day and recorded it the week
when you were sitting on the bus.
Yeah. So I just like wrote it into my phone, and then I walked home and I sang it into my phone. It was with Jon.
We had just spent the afternoon absolutely punishing ourselves over this album. Like we go through this moment at least once or several times making any album where we have to convince ourselves that it's good, you know? Like there's like doing it because you want to do it, and then there's the panic that sets in that you're like, oh my goodness, what if it's shit? Like, it can be really hard to shake that, and you have to kind of talk each other out into it or out of it or something like that. And yeah, it kind of almost seems to get worse in a way. Like there's a feeling when you're making a fourth album that you can do it. You can kind of see it, and you can imagine it through to its conclusion. But
because you've done it before,
and so you kind of know the beats, but you don't necessarily know what made the last ones what they were or something. And so I think probably a lot of people have a more healthy approach, which is to find a way to put it out of their mind and just carry on and be creative. I think Liz and I tend to plumb those depths, and so we had just been tackling that which we'd been putting off for a long time, which was just, let's go through this and decide if it's any good or not, and like let's do a reality check, like where are we at? Have we made a good thing yet, like, or do we need to do more work on it?
And it's so hard in the middle of it, right? It's like you say, you start off and we have these demos and we're like, we think it's really good. And then it's like you have a blueprint for a house, and then you're halfway through building the house and you look around and everything's everywhere and it just looks awful, and you're just like, is this going to be a good house? Like I can't tell from looking around me how this is going to turn out. And it's we have this crisis point with every album, and we are so both critical, right? Both self-critical and like critical, and that's, I feel like you need a bit of that, because otherwise you just like make something and you go, it's great, and then like there's obviously a degree to which you're trusting your taste and your ability to see when something is wrong.
Then when you came out with that line, when you heard it on the bus, was that a bit of a light switch moment?
Like I say, I'm still in the middle of this process of trying to figure stuff out, but I think for a minute, like anything, you start doing something and you get better at it really quickly. What's that called? There's like a curve of learning how to do something, and then so like I had started to kind of like try and figure myself out, and I got really like optimistic. I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to be fine, guys. Like we're going to figure it out. I'm going to fix this family stuff. I'm going to fix like body and my brain and everything, and then like realizing that is not the case, and like you just kind of keep going, and sometimes you go backwards, and that's not like, oh, I've messed up at life. That's like, that is what the whole journey is. It's like you go forwards, you go backwards, you go up, you go down, and all of that is going through.
101
all bands have jobs. Mostly, well, I think I'll preface this by saying that I don't think a touring the world band is any more successful than a band playing once a week at their local bar because they want to. Right? Success is probably something, it's definitely something that you define, right? And the goalposts are always probably changing, one day to the next, 1 hour to the next. But I think it's like important to remember that like people have different ideas about what it means to be successful or do what they're trying to do. So with that in the bigger picture, what was your story like of like going from being in a band for fun to then, making enough to survive and keep on being sustainable without having to worry about the next part-time job that you're going to do?
I feel like we were working so hard to we were like gigging musicians back home, and we also had other part-time jobs, and we were trying to save money to try to go on tour, and we had like these silly goals for ourselves, like that we thought were achievable. There's a dive bar back home called the Whammy Bar. We wanted to play the Whammy Bar in 40 cities around the world. We wanted to find that version of a bar and play a show there. And we kind of knew like what that would take. It would be like at least going to a place a couple of times, because the first time you play at the Wine Cellar, which is another, these are our reference points. The Wine Cellar is the small club back home that you can play your first gig at. And if it goes well, you might play there a couple of times and then be able to fill the Whammy Bar and play that bar. So we sort of imagined that there was this environment in a bunch of cities around the world, and that we wanted to try and find it and try and do it. We had a reasonably realistic idea of what that was going to look like, and we were just trying to save money and become better musicians and try to give that a go. We started touring in 2018 with we just spent our savings on it basically. So Jon had been alternately like a draftsman in an engineering company, and then was producing bands kind of full time and doing live sound at venues. And I was had been working at hospo and then at the library, and then I was teaching trumpet once I graduated. That was like my kind of day job. And so we were gigging in the evenings. So it was kind of like
you had your hands full.
Yeah, well, and then we were doing that while we made Future Me Hates Me, and then Car Park, our label, got on board, and they were great, and we were like, okay, let's do it. Let's book a DIY tour. And so we started planning that around the release.
There are pressures around that age, right? There's pressures at any age, no matter what you're doing. But you, looking back on that time, what were the pressures? I think that was a Goldilocks age for us in our like mid to late 20s or something like that, where it was we kind of were our own free agents or something like that. Like, I think one of the pressures was, can we become really single focused, like I remember one of the pressures was like, if we do this, if we just decide to try and pursue this, like then we have to say no to a lot of other things, and those things are really like those who we are, like those are the valuable things. These are our other musical collaborators and our peers and our community and stuff. Like we're gonna probably have to quit a bunch of bands, that sort of thing. You had to leave some blood on the floor in the WhatsApp groups. Liz and Jon have exited the chat.
But it wasn't like, because we weren't like, and we're going to go and we're going to make it and we'll never come back. It was we're going to go, we're going to do this tour, and we're going to try really hard to do another tour if we haven't, run out of money, which we were only able to do because there's some New Zealand funding, which we applied for and we managed to get for that very first tour, which we only found out at the end. We were like, great, now we can afford to go on another tour. And we managed to get funding for that as well. And then the album started to do well, and then we started to, and it was like, oh, okay, I think we can do this full time. And we toured for kind of 18 months, 2 years on that first record. And then that we were like, okay, determined we were going to do this. We came back and we started to like pay ourselves like a small wage. All four of us in the band. And then the pandemic happened, and so so we had an album in the bag ready to go and start touring album number 2, and then we were like, oh no, maybe we can never do this again.
Right. How often does that feeling come up?
like a global pandemic kind of feeling?
No,
like
that in your own personal way. Like, how long can we keep on doing this?
It comes up occasionally. It's been reasonably easy to quash down.
Also, I don't want to bring that up as well. I don't want to prod that that monster.
No,
but, it's real life, right?
Don't feel too. No, I think about it from time to time. I more think about like what will it, because Giles, I'm determined to make music with Liz for the rest of my life.
Fuck yeah.
Just to be really earnest.
Yeah.
On your podcast.
Yeah, this is it. This is the place for it.
But so I do sometimes think about what that will look like at times in the future. There's a lot of paths that we could go down that don't look like full-time international touring band, that look like living at home, making interesting shit that's interesting to us, and the measures of success being pretty different, and and I see a lot of satisfaction in that too.
Totally, that's so inspiring. I do think that we're not far off a kind of like universal basic income where at some point it's just like everyone's just going to be happy to survive and be at home with loved ones and to have some kind of routine that they enjoy and have time to read and swim and run or do whatever you want to do, hang out with your pets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a great life.
And pay for it with a 90% tax on billionaires.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dream. All right, just to end with, thank you so much for the time. The worst part-time jobs you've had. Not the bad sad, the bad funny.
I mean, have you ever tried to teach the trumpet to a kid who really doesn't want to learn the trumpet?
At a boys' private school.
Yeah, like a
public school, you would say here, I suppose.
Yeah, at a school where it's like part of it's like a bit more expensive, and so everybody learns an instrument. You do band class or something, and there's just some kids who are just like, I don't want to be doing this. I did not choose this, and I've been handed a trumpet.
So how would you deal with a kid who's dragging his feet?
In my imagination, Liz just doesn't. Like, I don't know if I can see it in you to like try to motivate that kid.
I'm not. I can't make you love the trumpet. You
also can't make someone do something, right?
Yeah.
I think some teachers go out there thinking like, this kid doesn't want this now, but maybe they'll value it later. Yeah. And so I'm going to give it my best regardless. And that is an amazing skill that I don't think Liz possesses.
How dare you? Teacher trumpet's weird. It's like you spend a lot of time listening to something and then trying to imagine somebody's mouth shape and being like, okay, it's not working. Have you tried this? Like, where is your tongue at? Like, what's the sides of your lips doing? Like, is air escaping out the sides? Is air escaping out of your nose? Like, if you can't, it's a weird job. And some people just have it, like that. You put the instrument in their mouth and they go, and it's lovely. And sometimes,
do you feel like you encourage the next generation of trumpet players?
I don't know. I hope that I helped more than I hurt, but it was, I'm sure I'll be back there again once the Beths implodes.
Well, this time you can charge more. International touring musician. How about you, Jon? What are some difficult days?
In the pandemic, when I didn't know whether being a musician had a future, I approached a local, a New Zealand publication who had just started running podcasts, suggested to them that I could improve their production quality by being a podcast producer.
Yeah.
And they said yes.
Was that email like, cool. Your podcast sounds shite, let me do it better?
It was a little bit like that. It was like, I literally took one of their podcasts and was like, this is what it made it sound better. And then they said, it sounds better. You should do that. And podcasting is on the up.
Yeah. You know it.
And there were like 90% great days doing that. But yeah, code switching between pretty serious sort of state of the nation economics politics podcast and commentary on Married at First Sight Australia chat podcast. That was like, I did feel like I had to know something about reality TV and the policy of the Reserve Bank.
Did you start educating yourselves on both those closely related fields?
I did. Yeah, I did. More than I needed to, I think, but more than I needed to push record and get everyone cups of tea. But yeah.
Appreciate you. Love the new record. Such a great feeling band.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you.
Coming on here again as well. Second time.
It's a pleasure. It's going great.
Hell yeah.
We'll be back.
Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Lauren Maybury of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps. Welcome along to 101 Part-Time Jobs. Every single one of our episodes is available ad-free at our Patreon, patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. I know that there are all these messages trying to sell you things that you may or may not want. So for £4 a month, that's around $5.50 US, you can get over 450 of our episodes and every single one in the future, featuring all the brilliant guests that we have week in, week out, completely ad-free. You can head to patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs, get all your episodes bother free, and you support us directly. Cheers.